Well, yeah, we have some dope stuff from Dope Coffee. Hello, all you coffee enthusiasts, all you coffee lovers out there, and all you coffee snobs. I, Limitless, wholeheartedly welcome you all after a very long time to another coffee tasting episode. And I must say, it has been a while. I was out there roaming on my dear, lovely, beloved Larla, my motorcycle, Royal Enfield Classic 350, doing some adventures with my friend, and those adventures were really dope. I must say, you should check out my previous vlogs. If you are an adventure enthusiast, you would definitely enjoy those vlogs, guys. And now let's talk about coffee and why I was talking about this adventure, because last time when we went to Surinsar Lake, I took this coffee by the name of Nilgiri from Dope Coffee Roasters, and I thought, well, yeah, it might be some another coffee, but trust me, guys, this coffee really surprised me because the malt flavor and all the different fruity notes in that coffee were so good that in no time I completely finished that coffee. And if you are into some fruity notes, you must check that coffee out. Nilgiri, it was so good. But after that, I was like, well, if their coffees at light roast are so good that they are giving some nice fruity notes, why not just try some dark roasted coffee from them? And then I came across this coffee by the name of Dark Matter from Dope Coffee Roasters. But let's talk about this coffee roasters first of all. Because see guys, this coffee roasters, their aim is basically to provide some nice specialty coffee to people who just want to enjoy some real good coffee, and that's their main purpose. And that's why they are providing these coffees in a very basic simplistic manner, but their cover, all the cover of their packagings are so good, at least I would say, even of this Dark Matter or at least that previous Nilgiri. When I looked at those covers, they were so appealing to me. I was like, well, I would like to have this coffee on my shelf. It would look so enchanting, so appealing to me. And yeah, guys, honestly, I love these coffees in that manner, the aesthetic of the cover of these coffees. But now let's talk about the flavors. It's time to taste those flavors and see how much we can get out of these specialty coffees. Now, talking about this Dark Matter, I think why they call it Dark Matter is because it has something special to it. The speciality of this coffee is that it is darkly roasted, but at the same time you won't only expect some chocolatey or some woody notes in it or some earthy notes in it, but at the same time there is a little bit fruity note in it which was written on the label, but I haven't tasted it yet. Let's see what we can get out of this coffee. And when the very first time I read about this coffee, the label of this coffee, Dope Coffee, I was like, well, yeah, we have some dope stuff from Dope Coffee. It's the slang, obviously, it's the slang, Dope Coffee, some nice dope special coffee. And yeah, for sure some people would mistake it in that manner, but it's not coffee with dope. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. And now, without any more delay, I think we should make a nice cup of pour over and see what kind of flavors we're gonna get out of this Dark Matter. Okay guys, so here is a nice cup of coffee straight out of this dark roasted Dark Matter. I must say guys, whenever I brew a cup of coffee straight out of dark roasted, some heavy dark roasted coffee, the brown froth that gets collected at the top is very much prominent, and it gives me a sign that this coffee is gonna be very harsh on your palate. So for sure I expect and I anticipate that there must be those prominent flavors of burnt wood and some chocolate which have been claimed by them, but at the same time when they write pomegranate, I want to see what kind of fruity flavor notes I'll get. Would I really get some pomegranate flavor in it? Let's see. Let's take the very first sip and see what happens. Okay, now that wasn't a little bit overblown. For sure, this coffee has some heavy thing in it. And when I say heavy thing in it, it's harsh. It's not harsh on the palate, but the flavor note is harsh when it goes down. It is for sure that prominent flavor of burnt wood is the very first flavor note that you're gonna get out of this coffee. That is for sure. Even if you are not a coffee enthusiast, you're gonna get that prominent burnt flavor note on your tongue, on your palate at the very first moment. Now I want to see what else I would get, but let me just cool it a little bit because it's so very hot. I'm not getting anything except of that burnt wood in this coffee. You see, it's very funny when you just allow the coffee to go down your palate and it reaches the back of your palate and it slowly absorbs in your esophagus. Then you realize there's something more to this coffee, at least in the very first two sips. Then you realize that there is a little bit of that chocolatiness, not very prominent and not some nice chocolate. It's just some bitter Amul chocolate or even much more darker chocolate that you get at the back of your palate. It is very strange, but I would say something very harsh. That is the first observation that I got in these two, sips. But at the same time, I would say I had just put a little bit more of coffee beans in this coffee, and that was a mistake. I would highly recommend the amount of coffee beans you would put in your coffee. Keep a little bit lower when you are shifting to a highly heavy roasted coffee, some dark roasted coffee, because what will happen is that you are not, if you are accommodated to that kind of coffee, for sure it's good, but if you are not, maybe you should keep the coffee a little bit low in the weight section. See, now what is happening, I'm telling you, it's a very strange phenomenon. What happens in your mouth is when you swirl it a little bit. See, this coffee is harsh in its flavor notes, but when you taste it, it's a very wholly swirly coffee. The texture is very smooth. When it rotates on your palate, what you're getting as a third note, I would say, is something very similar, like I don't know how to describe it, but somewhat similar like a pea soup, you can say. Soups of some nice chopped peas, if I would describe it. It's very subtle to describe, and a little bit roasted peanuts are also present in this coffee. So it is a very complex coffee at the same time, but now when your palate gets used to it, you can get more flavors out of it. I want to see what else I can get out of this coffee, and that's the process which I really enjoy, and it's very intriguing. It's very, you can say, involving at the same time. Let's go and dig a little bit deeper in this process. See, now what happens is that eventually you get a certain fruity flavor notes, and the coffee note gets a little bit mellow and lower. Now the coffee I'm tasting is somewhat like giving me a flavor note of some Cadbury chocolate, because the coffee has settled on my palate and now it has been used to that kind of flavor note, and the coffee is much more prominent in a chocolatey form, and at the same time the flavor note of some pineapples along with a subtle note of pomegranate, not too much. The fruity notes are very subtle, because see, after all, it is a dark roasted coffee. If you want some fruity flavor notes, for sure you can go for a light roasted coffee, but this is a harsh coffee, so there is no acidity at all for me, I would say. So all in all, the verdict I would say for the dark matter is that if you want some really nice good dark roasted coffee that gives you best of both worlds, you get some nice burnt wood flavors in the start, which eventually vanishes into some chocolatey flavor notes, and those chocolatey flavor notes give you a blend of some chocolate at the same time mixed with some pomegranate and some fruity pineapple, and the texture of that coffee is really smooth. You should for sure go for some dope coffee dark matter. This is a really good coffee. I must highly recommend you guys this coffee. Permanently personally my favorite coffee is Nilgiri, but if you are into some harsh dark roasted coffee, go for dark matter. The link to both of the coffees are down in the description below. Go check it out. Enjoy these coffees. These are really good coffees. You would love them for sure and support them as much as you can. This was my intention. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, guys. It really supports the channel. And make sure to hit the subscribe button and bell icon to stay notified for more coffee tasting and adventure vlogs. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, enjoy, have fun, and peace. And yeah, stay caffeinated.